Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Saturday, December 17th, 2011. This is episode 831. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Ford, featuring available voice-activated sync with sync services, which enable you to customize your driving experience with personalized news, traffic, and directions. Check it out in the new 2012 Ford Focus or at ford.com/technology. And by Stamps.com. For a limited time, get this special offer when you use the promo code TechGuy. A no-risk trial plus a $110 bonus, including the digital scale and $55 free postage. Use the promo code TechGuy at Stamps.com. Well, a good day to you. How are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy, and it's time to talk about tech. Computers, the internet, cell phones, camcorders, MP3 players, home theater, and all that jazz. I want to thank Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru, for filling in for me last week while I was at the Le Web conference in Paris, Gay Paris. I guess you don't call it Gay Paris anymore. That's politically correct. And had a great time there, and I think Scott did a brilliant job here, so thank you, Scott. I'm not sure what's going to happen next week. I am taking Christmas Eve and day off, so I'm hoping Scott will come in for me. At least, I know, not Christmas Day. We don't expect that, Scott. But maybe Christmas Eve next week with more home theater. But I can talk about anything. This day we will talk about many things of cabbages and kings and all that stuff. 8888 Ask Leo is the number. I'm pulling up the phones right now. In fact, you can give us a ring, and I think we have two lines open still, 888-827-5536. Gina Yates will answer your call. Say, hello, what would you like to talk about? And if it has a chip in it, I will talk about it. I'm trying to stay chipper. I'm trying to stay upbeat. I'm trying to stay positive. But it's not been easy this week because I've been watching with greater and greater dismay as the United States Congress moves closer and closer to dismembering the internet. And I don't think this is overstatement, to be honest. I think this is exactly what they're talking about. Setting up, well, let me explain the forces at work here. You all know, we all know, it's something we've covered for a decade now on this show, all my other shows, that the people of the record industry, the movie industry, the television industry are very afraid, newspapers, publishers, very afraid of the internet. They see it not as a boon, not as a, something that's transforming humanity, not as a great, amazing innovation that happened in the United States and is transforming the world. They see it as one thing only, a vehicle for piracy. These are pirates out there on the internet, and we got to shut that sucker down. For a long time, they've worked hard to make computers, modify computers, to hobble computers so that we couldn't use them to steal stuff. They primarily failed in that attempt. Then some bright boy at one of the record companies said, hey, wait a minute. We've been buying congressmen for years. Why don't we use them? We got all these members of Congress in our pockets. Why don't we use them? So they proposed two bills, the IP Protect Act in the Senate and SOPA, Stop Online Piracy Act, in the House. Yesterday, the House started markup on a SOPA bill. A bill will probably pass. It'll probably be signed into law. And it's certainly well, actually, I can't even say that. I was going to say, yes, it certainly will protect the record industry and the motion picture industry and the publishers against piracy. It won't, because you know what? Pirates don't care about the U.S. law. It doesn't affect them in the least. But, of course, the problem is that the record companies, the movie industry, the television industry don't really understand the internet. They don't like the internet. Members of Congress have demonstrated absolute ignorance for the most part. somebody writing, I think it was in the Atlantic Monthly, compared it to, oh no, I'm sorry, it's the Washington Post. Really great article by Alexandra Petri. Compost is the column that she writes for the Washington Post. She compared it to a surgeon doing heart surgery, but somebody who'd never actually studied medicine. She says, but this is like a group of well-intentioned amateurs getting together to perform heart surgery on a patient incapable of moving. We hear from the motion picture industry that heart surgery is what's required, they say cheerily. We're not going to cut the good valves, just the bad neurons or whatever you call these darn thingies. And that's exactly what's going on. She says it's terrifying to watch. It would be amusing. There's nothing like people who did not grow up with the internet attempting to ask questions about technology very slowly and stumbling over words like server and service when you want an easy laugh, except this time the joke is on us. These morons in Congress, and I say that freely because they've demonstrated their ignorance, especially Lamar Smith, whose House Judiciary Committee is doing the markup. They've shown they have complete ignorance of what they're doing. And they hold in their hands this internet that we all value so much. And they are about to slash it to pieces in order to protect something that it won't even protect. Protect American content creators. They say, oh, well, Lamar Smith is representative from Texas. Says, oh, well, you know, this is only going to affect them pirates overseas. I say, pirates, bad guys. Well, let me tell you, this will give the federal government the right to take down any site. It's a broad, blunt weapon. I'll give you a good example. It hits home. I run a podcast network called TWiT.tv. And that's the website, TWiT.tv. By the way, the members of Congress are so stupid, they think if they exempt .com, .net, and .org sites, that A, they will exempt all U.S. sites, and B, that they'll be able to hit pirate sites. Oh, yeah, pirate sites like piratebay.org. Oh, whoops. These guys are nitwits. So .tv, that could be a U.S. site. It's not a .com. No, it is a U.S. site. It's a broadcast, an internet broadcast network I run here in the U.S. of A. And we're a news operation. From time to time, I will, on this show and other shows, completely legally run clips of content from some of these content creators. Recently, one of my shows, Tech News Today, ran a clip, a YouTube video, a song from megaupload.com, which is an uploading service that the Universal Music Group didn't like. They didn't own the rights to it. They just didn't like it. They felt it encouraged piracy. And so they asked YouTube to take it down. YouTube took it down. We showed a clip of that talking about the story. This is what they call in the news business fair use for commentary, criticism. It's completely legal. It is not a violation of copyright. The Universal Music Group took down our video. They pulled that off YouTube. We appealed. YouTube put it back. They took it down again. We appealed again. They've gone to court. And now Mega Upload is saying, or I'm sorry, Universal Music Group is saying, well, as a matter of fact, we're not complaining on copyright grounds. We have the right to pull any video on YouTube down. That's in our agreement with YouTube. What? Of course, we don't know what that agreement is, but they cited the section and the paragraphs. We've never seen the agreement. It's a private agreement between YouTube and the Universal Music Group. YouTube is all like Google. It's interesting because Google's one of the people fighting this SOPA Act. But remember, YouTube's also making deals with content creators. They want to become a television network. So put yourself in my position. Right now, all the Universal Music Group can do is try to pull those videos down. They go up and down. They go up and down. We fight them. They put them back up. The judge, thank goodness, had the good sense to say, well, let's wait, hold on. Let's leave that up until we figure this stuff out. So it's up right now. And I might add, this has not shut down the Mega Upload video because people keep uploading it to YouTube. There's hundreds of copies all over the internet, thousands, millions. It doesn't stop anything. And so that's why the content creators have gone to Congress and said, we need a bigger weapon. We need a broader sword. We need a cannon to kill these ants. And Congress is about to give them the right to shut down any site they deem in violation of their copyrights. To shut the site down. Not the video, not the individual show, the site. So next year, I expect them to pull down my entire network, because if this law passes, they'll have the right, and I will have no appeal. Is this what we want? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'll tell you what you can do right after this.
Mega upload.
Now see, they're going to pull this show down.
Bring it.
Bring it, baby.
Mega upload.
The reason, by the way, the reason that Congress is about to pass an outrageously broad bill allowing internet censorship is because I can play this song. I could put up videos of this song that is completely legal, that is approved by all the artists involved.
Yeah, I like Mega Upload.
These are all people like will.i.am. These are all artists who support this site. But the Universal Music Group doesn't like it. They have no right to block it, but they don't like it. And the fact that they have no right to block it makes them crazy. So they and their minions in Congress are about to pass a law that will allow Congress, the federal government, not even Congress, allow the federal government, including the ICE, this kind of shady group under the Department of Homeland Security, just to say, well, we can't really pull down the video, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to kill the site. We will make sure that it doesn't show up in any of the search engines. We will make sure that no internet service provider allows you to go to the site, and we will tell the web host of the site to pull the site down if it's in the U.S. Problem is they say, well, it's not in the U.S., so we'll just block it in the U.S. We'll firewall it. We'll censor the internet. What countries do that right now? China. We'll censor the internet. Here's a open letter to the United States Congress. Congress is saying, oh, well, the only people who oppose this are pirates, bad guys. The only people who would be so anti-American as to not want internet censorship have an axe to grind. They have money to make in this business, like Google. The Google, oh, they got money to make there because they sell advertising. They don't. Okay, here's an open letter from 83 men and women who designed the internet. These aren't people making money on the internet. These are the people who created the internet. Vince Cerf, the father of TCP/IP, the Internet Protocol. Paul Vixie, the guy who created DNS. Tony Lee, the guy who wrote the Border Gateway Protocol, and on and on and on. We, the undersigned, have played various parts in building a network called the Internet. We wrote and debugged the software. We defined the standards and protocols that talk over that network. Many of us invented parts of it. This is their letter to Congress. We're just a little proud of the social and economic benefits that our project, the Internet, has brought with it. We're writing to state our concerns about the SOPA. That's that bill I'm talking about in the House. Stop Internet Piracy. Who could be in favor of that? And PIPA. They're under consideration in the House and Senate. In many respects, these proposals are worse than the ones we were alarmed to read about last year. If enacted, either of these bills will create an environment of tremendous fear and uncertainty for technological innovation, seriously harm the credibility of the United States in its role as a steward of key Internet infrastructure. Both bills risk fragmenting the Internet's global domain name system and have other capricious technical consequences. That's because the people who are writing this bill don't understand the Internet, and they have only one goal: to protect the guys who give them money to get reelected. In exchange for this, such legislation would engender censorship that will simultaneously be circumvented by deliberate infringers, doesn't stop pirates, while hampering innocent parties' right and ability to communicate and express themselves online. As one of those innocent parties who runs the risk of being put out of business by this bill, I couldn't agree more. They go on to say all censorship schemes impact speech beyond the category that they were intended to restrict. But these bills are particularly egregious in that regard because they cause entire domains to vanish from the web, not just infringing pages, or files, entire domains. Worse, an incredible range of useful, law-abiding sites can be blacklisted under these proposals. Sites like mine, I might add. In fact, it seems this has already begun to happen under the nascent DHS, Department of Homeland Security, ICE Caesars program. I'll tell you what, I'll put a link to this letter at EFF.org on our website. I will also put some articles, pro and con, on our website, techguylabs.com. And then I urge you to go to EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, read more, and if you decide that you would like to act, and I encourage you to do so, go to EFF.org/action. EFF.org/action. There you'll be able to, or there's another site. What is the other site? Is it Oppose Online Censorship? It'll give you a way to find your member of Congress. Best way to do this is to call their office. Next best way is to use the U.S. Postal Service to mail them a postcard or a letter. In both cases, they can verify that you're a constituent. They want to hear from people who are actually voting. That's why email isn't as good. But it doesn't hurt to use Twitter and Facebook and your other social networks to at least let your friends know about this and have them act too. If we all act in concert, perhaps we can stop this. Because remember, even though these men and women of our Congress are in the pockets of the music and television and movie industry, because those esteemed people are giving their campaigns millions of dollars, the thing they want is votes. Those millions of dollars are only good in raising, for campaign funds, for raising awareness, for getting votes. So ultimately, we do have the power by using our vote, by saying we will not vote for you in the coming elections. We will chase you out as a corrupt, ignorant band of hooligans ruining this country if you don't do something about it. And I have to tell you, if this bill passes, and by the way, it's very close to passing, this country is going to suffer. It's going to suffer economically. It's going to suffer in freedom. It'll be a very sad day. 8888 Ask Leo. Your thoughts, of course, welcome. 888-827-5536. And, of course, I'd love to talk about other tech stuff. It's not all bad news. In fact, this might even be good news. This might be where the people of the Internet rise up to protect this so valuable technology from the forces of reaction, the forces of past that would like to shut it down. That's really what's going on, you understand. People who live in the past, who want to go back to the good old days of vinyl records and television that you couldn't record. They want to set us back into the past. That's what they really want. Let's go back to those good old days where we could make money. We didn't have to worry about people using the Internet and their computers for piracy. Let's go back to them. Was the good old days. In fact, let's get rid of cars while we're at it. Go back to horses. If you believe in the future, if you believe in technology, if you believe in the power of the Internet to change the world for good, this is a chance to stand up and be counted. Glenn in Glendale, California, you're our first call. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
I am well. How are you?
Fantastic. I have one small issue. I'm trying to figure out how to text blast my customers. 3 years ago when I wasn't collecting email addresses, I effectively fell way behind, and now I have all my customers. I desperately need to contact them.
Okay, now this is a really touchy subject. We're going to talk about it because a lot of people are going to see this as spam. I'll tell you a way to do it that's not spammy in just a minute. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We're talking about, whenever I do a member of Congress, especially if it's from Texas, I do that foghorn leghorn voice. But that's not really a foghorn leghorn voice. See, that character, that cartoon character, I guess I'm old enough to remember this, is based on a character that was very popular in the 40s and 50s on a radio show called Allen's Alley, called Senator Claghorn, who was based on an actual senator who did talk like this, son. I said, it's a joke, son. And for some reason, whenever I hear these guys try to understand the Internet, it just comes to mind. I don't know why. So we were talking to Glenn in Glendale, California, who has a challenge. He wants to sent out a mass email containing advertising for his company. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like something we might call spam? I say that's spam, son. So this is the problem, Glenn. You may say, well, I have people's permission to use their addresses to send them emails, but it's a very touchy thing. Are you there? Oh, well, let me push the button. Here we go. I got off track. All right. So it's a very touchy thing, Glenn, because not only will the recipients, some of the recipients view it as spam. They may forget, for instance, that it was, they gave you permission to email them some time ago. It also may be that your internet service provider says, hey, wait a minute, you just sent out 4,000 emails. Goodbye.
Yeah, not emails. I guess they're text mails, or
that's even worse. That's even worse. You know why? An email is free, is relatively free to me, but if you send me a text message, many of your customers will be paying for your advertisement. So you don't want to do that, Glenn, unless you really know very clearly, and it was very clearly stated, and it usually isn't, that you're giving me your phone number or your email address so that I can communicate with you about, our business. And even then, when you do, and I do that all the time, every time you sign up for something, they say, can we email you? And half the time there's a checkbox there and you miss it and you forget. So you really are giving them permission, which means technically it's not spam, but that's only technically. And it's not what technically is or isn't spam that matters to your customer. It's the perception. So give me a little more information. So are you an online company or?
No, very simple. I called you a while back. I'm a Dish Network retailer. They're making us stand behind our customers for 3 years now.
Good.
Of course, I wasn't.
So you weren't collecting all that information, right? Yeah. But you have their phone numbers.
Yes, I have their phone numbers. Most of them are their cell phones.
Oh, I can't tell you how furious I would be, Glenn, if I got a text message from you advertising or mentioning something that I then have to pay 20 cents for.
Yeah, I'm not advertising. I'm just reminding them of our phone number so they don't call the company. They call me when they have an issue. In essence, it's saving them 30 minutes on the phone talking to Dish Network.
Yeah. You think they're going to buy that?
Again. I hope so.
I'm telling you, Glenn, don't do it. I'm just telling you, don't do it. You're going to have to live with it. You cannot, and God, I just wish people understand this. You can't. People are very sensitive to this notion, whether you have the legal or right or ability to do it. And by the way, you don't, and you can't. I should mention it's not legal to send commercial messages via text for this very reason. It's against the law, and that you won't be able to find a legitimate company that provides a service to do that. But all of that aside, your customers are not going to perceive this as a benefit. They're going to perceive it as an annoyance, as spam, and costing them money. And you can rationalize it all you want. It's not the right thing to do. You're just going to have to live with the fact that you can't get these guys, reach these people. It'd be just as inappropriate to call them at home, and say, hey, I just want to give you my phone number just to remind you I'm servicing you. You can't do it. Buy an ad in the paper. Do something like that. I tell you, it drives me crazy. I occasionally do get spam on my phone, and it drives me crazy. Now, when when Sprint does it, or my cellular carrier does it, they always precede it with say free text message to remind me, oh, you're not paying for this. It's still annoying. It's still annoying. And unfortunately, I made the big mistake of I can't remember how I did this. Maybe it was on Twitter or something. But I gave the President Obama's campaign committee my cell phone number somehow. It probably was through Twitter. And they don't use it very often, a few times a year, but it's so annoying. Now I have unlimited text messaging. Of course, most people do nowadays because nobody wants to pay 20 cents a message. But it's still annoying. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. Mark in San Diego, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo, I really appreciate you and your show.
Thank you.
Hey, my question for you is, we have a second home, and we have a pretty extensive cable package at our primary residence. I'd like to watch my home TV at the second home, but I really would like to watch it on the actual TV, not on a computer or mobile device. So is there something that will allow me to watch my home TV on another television at a second location?
Yeah, absolutely. My first thing that jumps to mind is Slingbox, and the idea of a Slingbox is that you put this in your home system, you connect everything, your DVR, your DVD, your cable box or satellite box, and then you connect it to the internet. They used to make something, and I don't know if they still do, called a sling catcher that's on the other end. So then you'd hook.
Excuse me, it's my understanding that Sling Catcher has been discontinued.
Yeah, and I'm looking, and there's some people still selling it. It's my understanding. That's my understanding too, and that's too. I don't know. I'm not sure why. So I do see people. I'm looking on Amazon.com, and I do see people who are still selling it, but it's expensive. You know, they know they've got they know they've got something special. Why Sling? I have to call my friends at Sling because you know I'm a big supporter, and I don't know why they killed the Sling Catcher. So if you want to get it, it's like I'm seeing it's $600, $400, very expensive.
Right.
Let me ask the chat room. So the second TV, your country home, is internet connected, right?
Correct. High-speed wireless.
So I would think that can he do? Okay, BoxyBox and Google TV both have Slingbox apps. Thank you. There you go. There's a solution. So you buy one of these external devices. I like the new Google TV, believe it or not. Logitech said, we wasted $100 million on this thing. We hate it. And so they've discontinued it, and then it's only $99 now, which is a good price. It connects to your TV. And you could put a Slingbox app on it, and it will then connect to your TV via HDMI. And so now you'll have Slingbox, and you'll be able to watch your home television setup via Slingbox. Now, the negative you got to understand is it's going over the internet, so it's not going to look as good on this country home TV as it would look at home. But it's going to work. You'll be able to watch the local sports and all that stuff, local news. In fact, I have a guy who works for me from Philly who just loves watching Philadelphian local news. All the shootings, murders, you know, all that stuff. So, it's so funny. I walk up behind him, and he's watching the local news in Philly, and he's doing it via Slingbox on his iPad. That's another way to do it. If you had an iPad or an iPhone, if you have iOS 5 on it, you could use AirPlay or AirShare, that technology that will broadcast to your TV from your iOS device. So you could put the Sling software on that. So Sling is one way to do it. Sling would, and an Apple TV, perhaps. Thank you. Pete Practic in our chat room has sent me a link, which I will put in our show notes, to an article on TheVerge.com about Sling software on Boxy and Sling software on Google TV. I guess that's why Sling probably stopped making the Sling Catcher. Just sell the software. Let somebody else do the hardware. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. This time of year, between the holidays, bad weather, sick days, you can spend a lot of time away from the office. But business doesn't stop. There's still work to be done. That's why I love Go to My PC from Citrix. It gives me the freedom and fun.
Can I take a little bit of your time to talk about Ford? Just briefly. Would you mind?
We had to send him back, didn't we? Man, did we send the Mustang back too? Yeah, I never got to drive that.
Oh, you didn't get to drive it?
Yeah, right. I didn't get to drive it. Guess who got to drive it the whole time, I bet? No? Who took it the other night? Oh, man. So we had a Fiesta, we had a Focus, and we had a Mustang. Because we were testing out these are all the 2012s, we want to take a look at the new Sync, and I tell you, it's awesome. Well, I had Sync services in the Fiesta. They gave me the Fiesta. I guess I figured since I drive a Ford Mustang day in, day out, that I probably didn't need to drive the 2012. I mean, after all, I know what it's like. But the Sync services are cool. So, and actually, it is good to see it on the my Mustang and many of the cars with my Ford Touch have a big 7-inch screen on the console and stuff, and so you can see the Sync services there. But in the Fiesta, because it's a lower cost car, it's inexpensive. They have a much smaller screen, and it talks to you. The whole thing is so when you get turn-by-turn directions, it's actually talking to you because you don't have the big GPS display on the car, and you could do the Sync services, same thing. So it's so cool. You get personalized news, traffic, directions. It knows, for instance, what your commute is. You know, you say where home and work is. You set that up. You go to Ford.com/sync, set it all up. And then it will tell you. You say, well, what's the commute going to be like tonight? And it'll tell you, or it'll text it to your phone. You can say, I'm going to San Francisco. What's that going to be like? And they'll tell you. It will give you your horoscopes. It will give you your sports scores, your stocks. And you all via, you never take your hands off the wheel, your eyes off the road. You press the button, and it tells you the stuff. It's amazing. So you get the updates on the in-dash display if you have that, or read to you as you drive. You can even have them sent to you via SMS on your. You can have text messaging. Ford.com/technology. That's the site to go to learn more about amazing, amazing stuff. Ford has created a 21st century car company making great automobiles, but then the technology in the car is so cool. I want you to learn more about it at Ford.com/technology, and then best thing to do, drive one like that 2012 Mustang. Sure is fun to drive, I bet.
When you go up hills, yeah.
Liz says, when you go up hills, yeah. I shouldn't say this, but I can get 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds in second gear. In second gear. Was the one we have automatic? It was probably automatic. See, that's why I'm glad I gotta have a stick. I gotta have a stick. Ford.com/technology. Give them a try today. Mustangs are great. I never had a muscle car my whole life, and Lisa talked me into getting it. And I'm glad she did, because it's fun. It's really fun to drive. But my son, my 17-year-old son, who's going to be taking his driver's test finally on Monday, says, and I'm going to get to drive that car, right, Dad? I said, no way. Are you kidding? I'm not giving you a V8 Ford Mustang, 5.0-liter engine. That thing is like a bat out of hell. No way a 17-year-old kid is going to get that car. Yeah, he could have a Fiesta. Now, Fiesta is designed for the college kid. It's like your first car. It's designed to be your first car. It's completely appropriate. It was a nice, it was a fun car. I picked him up at school in it. He said, where's the Mustang? I said, this is your car. He said, no, where's the Mustang? Yeah, I know. I said, it's Transformers.
All right, Leo, non-32 is your library here.
Thank you, sir. Little freedom. That's what we're here for. We live in the land of the free, home of the brave. Don't let Congress take that away. 8888 Ask Leo. So that combines that you know, you're brilliant, Kyle. Kyle Benham, our musical director. When I say that, Kyle, I kind of imagine you with a baton in your hand, directing the band, but he's not really. He's running the console. But anyway, Kyle, who picks all the music, tied together so neatly two threads of this show, both freedom, because we're talking about this horrible Stop Internet Online Piracy Act, which is just offensive, and the fact that my video streaming engineer, Colin Weir, is from Philly, and for some reason that I don't understand, still wants to watch local news from Philadelphia and uses his Slingbox and his iPad to do it. He's crazy, that kid. He's crazy. He's on his way back to Philly for the holidays in a couple of days. Braden in Lexington, Massachusetts. Hey, Braden. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. Well, first, before I get to my question, I just wanted to say one thing. I got to disagree with you on your argument there about the SOPA bill.
Tell me, good. Let's see. I don't want to be on a soapbox here. Why is the SOPA bill a good idea?
Oh, well, that's not my point. My point is a disagreement. It's semantics. The ignorance has nothing to do with it. I think the correct word is duplicity.
Yeah.
They know exactly what they're doing, and they just want more power.
I'm trying to put the. You're probably right, Braden. Although when I read, yeah, you're probably right. But I read some of these guys like Lamar Smith saying things that are just boneheaded, like he doesn't understand the fact that. So one of the things they said that when they got 87,000 phone calls from Tumblr alone. Tumblr, we had a Stop Internet Censorship Day a couple of weeks ago. Tumblr got 87,000 of its users, because Tumblr is one of the sites that would absolutely be shut down the minute this bill passed. because Tumblr has infringing content. Some, people, you can't stop it. They've got millions of blogs, and some of those blogs have infringing content. And Tumblr, it will take it down using the current system. But the new system, they don't even ask Tumblr to take it down. They just say, Tumblr, bye-bye. So Tumblr, 87,000 calls. So what did the Congress, I think it's Lamar Smith you can thank for this. What did they do? They said, well, okay. We'll exempt, here's how we'll protect U.S. companies. We'll exempt .com, .net, and .org sites. So you guys, you don't have to worry. We can't take you down. It's just the pirate sites we'll take down. So that protects Tumblr. But guess what? There are plenty of .com, .org, and .net sites outside the U.S., including, let me think, oh, yeah, piratebay.org, the number one piracy site in the world. They're protected now. And guess what? My site is TWiT.tv. I'm not. And so I know full well that one of the first things that had happened is the Universal Music Group would wreak its revenge on me and say, hey, you guys, Department of Homeland Security, we got this site. They put pirate material online. Can we shut down TWiT.tv? Oh, well, of course, it's not an American site because it's not a .com, .net, or .org. So I think there's ignorance there as well as duplicity and greed. No question there's greed, Braden.
Oh, comrade, you're being so selfish.
Yeah, you know, for the good of Chanel, so we don't have those pirate handbags, we got to take that TWiT.tv down. I tell you.
Well, I think it's important to note that it's a broad-based bill. I mean, it's not just Republicans, it's Democrats, it's everyone.
Oh, no, and that's what scares me is that there's broad partisan support for it. And that, normally I'd say, in fact, we were talking about this in the break, the chat room said, oh, this is never going to pass. Normally I'd say, yeah, some, brighter minds will prevail. But no, there's broad partisan support for this. That's what scares me. This actually could happen.
Well, I'm glad you're talking about it. But my question is, so I don't take up your whole hour.
Okay.
I'm looking for a program. I have all these videos that are files from my Android phone that are videos, and I took them all 90 degrees rotated the wrong way, and I have about 100 of them.
Ooh, wow.
And they're videos of dance instruction class.
It happens all the time on cell phones now, right? Because the cell phone, that's just the natural way to hold it is upright. But then all your videos are portrait. And, so I always have to remind myself, no, hold it sideways, hold it sideways. So you want to rotate those all?
Yeah, 90 degrees. I just like to be able, I know I can do it with Windows Live Maker and one by one, and it just takes forever, and I got to name each one individually. I'm wondering if there's a program out there where I can just highlight all of them and say, rotate 90 degrees clockwise or rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise, and just let it go.
Yeah, you want something you could script.
Yeah.
Anybody in the chat room know? Because I don't know off the top of my head. I usually do. I do this, but when I do it, I use QuickTime Pro, which is another way to do this, like Windows Movie Maker. And you just press, you go into the video properties and you say rotate it. But you're right, it's one by one. I guess I could script it with some trouble. I could probably script it. Anybody have an idea for a batch mode? Virtual Dub, that's certainly one to look at. Virtual Dub is a really nice piece of software that I think is free. I'll have to check that. But that's a very sweet little program. I think is it Mac only, though? Oh, it's both. Yeah, take a look. Virtualdub.org.
All right, I'll do that.
Yeah, that's a program anybody working with videos ought to have. The subtitle of the website is Proof I Had Too Much Free Time in College. It's a video... I love it. It's for Windows, video, open source, video capture processing utility. And I bet you, this kind of thing you could script, I would bet. That's what you need. VDub. That's what we like. Chat room's coming up with a bunch of other such suggestions. I'll tell you what, we'll capture those in James Aruvo's in the chat room there, and he'll capture those, put them on our website, techguylabs.com. This looks like a typo. It's Leo in Laporte, California. Is that right? Is that a typo? Hello, Leo?
Hey there.
Is your name Leo?
No, this is Jerry.
Oh, okay. Hold on, Jerry. We'll fix that. I think Gina was listening to me and just typed Leo Laporte for some reason. I don't completely understand. Hey, all right, now I got Jerry. Hi, Jerry. You're calling actually from Los Angeles, so I don't know what happened to That
yeah,
previous.
who knows?
Who knows? So you're in the market for a new phone.
Yes.
Well, your timing's pretty good because end of the year they've come out with very big, good phones. So let me first of all tell you the first step in picking a phone is picking your carrier. You probably already have a carrier.
We have Verizon.
Yeah, the nice thing about all of the smartphones now, including the iPhone, is you've got a choice of carriers. So start by picking a carrier that works best in your neighborhood. Verizon is often the best choice. You're in L.A., absolutely the best choice. Unfortunately, Verizon does not have my favorite Android phone. They just got this new Galaxy Nexus phone. They held off. Everybody else, Sprint, AT&T, T-Mobile, they got the Galaxy S2. And Verizon said, no, we're going to wait for the Galaxy Nexus. I got a couple of negatives on the Galaxy Nexus. It's a very nice phone. It's big, 4.6 inches. It's the only phone with a new ice cream sandwich operating system. It's got the highest resolution display out there, 1024 by 768. But I've been using it for a week now, and I got some negatives on it. So I'm sorry to do this to Jerry, but the clock on the wall says we got to take a break. We'll be back, and I'll give you my review right after this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, a good day to you. Leo Laporte here, the tech guy, and it's time to talk about computers, the internet, cell phones, home theater, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is the number to call if you have a question, a comment, a suggestion. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S., outside the U.S. Just use Skype. It's a toll-free number. Won't cost you anything. Hey, some good news. We were expecting a vote on the SOPA bill today. Of course, Congress a little bit busy with the spending plan, which they've just okayed. Keeping the country running, I think, is pretty important. So they're delaying the vote on the bill till Wednesday. And there is starting to be some organized dissent against it, which is good. Former Department of Homeland Security Policy Director Stuart Baker said the proposed legislation would do greater damage to internet security. Of course, Google, Facebook, Yahoo, eBay all oppose the bill, as do the Electronic Frontier Foundation, the ACLU, Human Rights Watch, and Leo Laporte. Trevor Tim from the EFF said SOPA would not just go after copyright infringers. It leaves no one on the internet untouched, and that's my problem exactly. It doesn't stop piracy, as usual. None of these attempts to kill piracy ever hurt pirates. It only stops honest people. So, but let's get back to our call. We were talking before the break to Jerry in Los Angeles, who had the ultimate conundrum. Used to be Mac or PC. These days, it's Android or iPhone. And you're on Verizon.
The Droid Razr or the iPhone, right?
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, well, no, it's not the Droid Razr. The top-of-the-line Android phone right now on Verizon, they just announced it, is the Galaxy Nexus. Now, I've been talking a little bit about the Nexus over the last few days. In fact, you could see my full review of it. We have a review show now called Before You Buy at twit.tv. You can watch it there. I'll give you the full review there, but I'll give you the thumbnail here. The Nexus is the current hot Android phone. The negatives on it is, in my opinion, are the display, which isn't very good looking. It's it's a very high resolution display, 1280 by 720, which means it's high def. But in order to do that, they had to opt for a cheaper display technology that doesn't look as good, in my opinion, as, say, the Razr. It also, I've found some unreliability in the handset I have, not from Verizon. I got an unlocked GSM phone, so that may be just me. I will have to wait and see, because it's only now just coming out in the U.S. But I have seen this with Android in the past. It could be a problem. And then this new ice cream sandwich, which is running, it's a Google phone, which is great, which means you don't get a whole lot of carrier or handset manufacturer customization. It's kind of the vanilla Google experience. It'll be easy to upgrade in the future. But I personally have problems with the decisions Google's made about the buttons at the bottom. They're no longer there. They're in software. They're on the screen. They've moved stuff around. It's inconsistent. I'm not crazy about it. So, and it's expensive. It's $300 at Verizon, although I'm told that Amazon Wireless is offering it for $150. Amazon Wireless is the place to go these days to get a deal on this on cell phones. You know, you're comparing that to the iPhone. If you live in the Apple universe, the iPhone's a pretty easy choice. I think I'm not an Apple fanboy, as people will testify. In many ways, I'm very dissatisfied with Apple's kind of closed environment. They really want to keep you in the Apple universe. They make more money that way, but it's not necessarily in your interest. Nevertheless, I think the iPhone is more polished, has a much broader variety of well-designed applications. For most people, the iPhone would be a better choice. Have you ever used either one before?
Nope, never have.
You're going from a kind of an old-style feature phone? There's one other phone. I'll give you a dark horse that you might want to consider, which is a Windows phone. Windows phones are a good first, in my opinion, a good first smartphone because they're very straightforward, very easy to use. They're not as capable, which may in the long run frustrate you, but they certainly don't scare people in the way that sometimes a full-blown smartphone will. To be honest, at this point, Jerry, I think the iPhone is the way to go.
What about the Droid Razor?
I would not get the Droid Razor. It has the same display as this Nexus, which I do not like. And unfortunately, Verizon does not offer a Galaxy S2 phone. They decided, oh, we're not going to do that phone. We'll wait till the Nexus comes out, and I think they made a mistake. I am an Android fan. I am. I love Android. I carry, for most of the time, I carry my Galaxy S2 from Sprint. I wish there were a Galaxy S2 available on Verizon. There isn't. Razor's not a bad choice. It's a nice phone. It'll take a bullet for you. It's got a Kevlar back. I know that's not something we all look for in a phone, but just so you know. The Resound is also something you might want to look at. That's focused on media playback. I probably, if I were you, I would go to the Verizon store and I would play with both. This is such a personal decision. I mean, we talk about personal computers. There's no computer more personal than the one that you carry in your shirt pocket all the time. You're going to use it more than you ever use a desktop, and you're going to live with it, and you're going to live with its quirks. Every phone has quirks and problems. I just think that there are more happy iPhone users than any other category. So if I'm making a general recommendation, not knowing anything about you, I'd say the iPhone is probably the right choice. It's tough to recommend cell phones because it is such a personal thing. So you got to go to the store and try it. See how you feel about it. See how it looks. The iPhone display is small. And frankly, I like a bigger display. That's the main reason I carry the Sprint Galaxy S2, because they call it the Epic 4G Touch. But it has a 4.6-inch display, and I love that big display. I love it. Keith in Escondido, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Keith.
Hi, Leo. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I called you before with a camera recommendation for a high-speed camera, and you recommended the Casio X1, which is working out great.
Yeah, they're pretty much the only company that specializes in that now.
Yeah, and we're very happy with it. I'm calling today because my 9-year-old, my daughter, she really wants a camera bad, and so we're looking for a camera recommendation that would be kind of kid-friendly, durable in case she drops it, or and if it gets broken, we're not out a whole lot of money to use it somewhere. So we're looking for something small and something that she can start out with and have a lot of fun with. I
highly encourage this, by the way. I know 9 seems very young, but if by chance she's got an eye and she's, I mean, it's not unusual to see somebody become a great photographer by starting very young. And at the very least, she'll be recording her life, which is wonderful to have as you get older. So I don't, I think if she loves it, by golly, get her a good camera. Now, by good, of course, for a 9-year-old, I'm not talking about a Nikon DSLR. I'm talking about an inexpensive point and shoot, probably a Kodak. She's too old for a Fisher-Price. They do have, like, my first camera from Fisher-Price and stuff like that. But let's not insult the poor kid. 9 years old, she's in 3rd grade. She's ready for a big girl camera.
Right.
So I'd say take a look at the Kodaks. They make very easy to use. I recommend them for seniors too. They make very easy to use, big screen point and shoots that'll do everything that she wants. And it's it's $150. It's not something it's gonna break the bank or break your heart when she breaks it, as she inevitably will. Cheap is good. Let me ask the chat room, because I don't have a 9-year-old anymore. And when my kids were that age, well, we didn't have digital cameras. We didn't have them. So anybody in the chat room have a kid that they could recommend a good camera? I'd love to. I'm not sure a disposable camera is the way to go. I Lover says Kodak makes a disposable digital. I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, something maybe that might be water resistant in case it gets wet. Or put a rubber cover around it, anything like that.
Rubber cover. Well, I can't. Yeah. I have a link I'll send you to in just a second. We got to take a break right now, though. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Look what you've done. We're looking for great cameras for a 9-year-old. Keith is on the line from Escondido, California, listening to the great KFI, our mothership. And I found a great one thanks to the chat room. This looks perfect for you. It's robust. It's it's got great images, and it's less than $80. It's the Kodak EasyShare Sport. It's waterproof. I'm not sure I'd take it swimming, but, it comes in blue, gray, and red. Good for small hands, 12 megapixels. The EasyShare is nice because EasyShare is basically a one-button way to post stuff on Facebook. Now, maybe you don't want her using Facebook quite yet, but she will for sure want to soon. And I think that this is a good price, good camera, all of that. So that'd be my recommendation, Keith. The Kodak EasyShares, and they have one called the Sport that's going to be pretty robust. Are you there? I guess he's gone. Moving along, Manny in Lock Haven, PA. Hey, Manny, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Must be me. I don't hear a thing. Am I doing something wrong? Are you? Oh, I did. I lost the connection, it looks like. Are you there? Kyle, I think I've lost... No, I still hear you, Kyle. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know why you can't hear him. Here, try it now. I just pushed him down.
Hey, Manny, are you there?
Leo.
There we go.
Yes,
Must be me. Must be me.
Oh, okay. Great show. Great show.
Thank you, sir. Of course, as one would expect, when you're the tech guy, you have more technological problems, not fewer. Things break because you live on the cutting edge.
Uh-huh. Hey, anytime the government touches anything, they mess it up. You know that?
I'm not sure I'd agree. I mean, we had a great interstate highway system. The internet, to some degree, was funded by the federal government. It's not always the case. But I have to say, when members of Congress are motivated to protect their contributors as opposed to the voters, we can often get in trouble. So I'm not anti-government. I know a lot of people are. I think the government does a lot of good for us. We need national defense. We need interstate commerce. We need court systems. There's a lot of good that comes out of the government. I was recently on a jury and was very impressed by the process, by the thoughtfulness, the carefulness of the justice system. It's not always flawed, but in this case, and you know what? This is democracy in action. Members of Congress are trying to pass a bill that it favors one constituency, and then we, as the other constituency, need to just stand up and be counted. And I believe, and if I didn't, I would be very depressed, I believe that we can influence them, that we can stand up and be counted, that it's not just money, that it's votes ultimately. And that's why I'm urging everybody to act, to call your member of Congress and say, we stand against this SOPA Act and this IP Protect bill. We don't want internet censorship. And if we do that, we will be heard, and they won't do it. And so I do think it works. This is part of the process, though. What's bad, what doesn't work is an apathetic... I'm sorry, you got me going, and then I'll get to your question. I think what doesn't work is an apathetic people that say government doesn't work, so the hell with it. That's what doesn't work. You got to stand up and be counted, and then government will work. It's government for the people, by the people. So the most important thing for us to do is to get involved If you're apathetic, if you say, hey, it's hopeless, then it doesn't work. All right. What's your question, Manny?
It's a quick question. I was wondering if you might have the house number or the bill number so that when I do call into Congress,
Yay.
I can talk to them.
I love that. I will give you the number right now. Let me just look it up. I should have had that for you. I think if you call them and you say, I'm calling to express my opposition for the SOPA bill in the House and IP protect in the Senate, I think that will be sufficient. They certainly will be expecting some calls on this. It's HR. It's HR 3261.
3261.
Thank you. Arbiter in our chat room gave us that. And you know, if you go to EFF.org, or I think is it Stop Online Censorship? I've got to find this page. There is a very good description of this and why. You know, it's good to get informed. Don't just listen to Leo and do what he says. You know, you should find out what the pros and cons are. It's I think it's stopcensorship.org. Yeah, I think it's stopcensorship.org, and there are many sites that will do this. They'll give you the name. Unfortunately, many of us don't know the names of our members of Congress, our senators, and our member of Congress, and phone numbers for the congressional offices so that you can act. And that's the solution. That's always a solution. PIPA is now the name of it in the Senate, not IP Protect, but PIPA. Call your Congress critter. That's all I can say. Heather in Altaloma, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Love your show. Learning a lot.
Thank you.
I have a wireless router on one end of the house in the office.
Okay.
And our family room / TV room is on the opposite end of the house, and there's several walls in between. Hence, our signal at that end of the house is really degraded and very poor.
Yeah.
Is my wireless router not strong enough, or do I need a booster?
No, it's not. Yeah, you need, in effect, you need a booster. So let's talk a little bit about this. Wireless routers, Wi-Fi routers, wireless access points, to be technical, WAPs, come in 3 flavors. There's 802.11b, A, actually there's 4 flavors, B, A, G, and N. The latest one is N. You want 802.11n. That gives you the biggest range. But even with an 802.11n router, your range is no more than 150 to 300 feet line of sight. And then if there's stuff in between, particularly metal, lath, plaster, drywall, those aren't a problem. It's metal. And older houses often do have metal in the walls, and that'll just kill it dead. So distance plus interference equals poor signal. But there's a way to fix that by putting retransmission points in between your wireless access point and the end point. Halfway down the house, put a repeater, in effect. It'll pick up the signal just fine and repeat it back out. So there is a system to do this. It's called WDS, or Wireless Distribution System. Unfortunately, it's not a very well-written spec. It's very loose. That means there's different ways to implement it. Different, companies do it differently. So the best, most likely chances for success comes from using a repeater made by the same company that makes the access point. If you have a Linksys, get a Linksys repeater. If you've got an Netgear, get a Netgear repeater. D-Link, get a D-Link repeater. Apple, get an Apple repeater. I'll give you the Apple example because that's what I have at home. They're overpriced, but that happens to be what I have at home. So I have an Airport Extreme, and then in between the Airport Extreme and my computers, because they're distant, I have Airport Expresses. And you can set them up, and all of these will have a way to set this up so that the Airport Express doesn't act as a router on its own. It just acts as a bridge. It's in bridge mode. So all the work is being done by the access point. The intermediate little repeater just takes the signal, passes it along, and vice versa, by the way. Works great. So get the repeater that's made by your access point manufacturer. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And that's what you did, apparently. I'm seeing nods. I did it right. Yeah, that's what you have to do. I just got this new HDMI, wireless HDMI I've got to try. Yeah. Oh, yeah, much. I did want to talk about Stamps.com. I got my Stamps box here. Let me I'm just going to show you this. So this is a really important time to talk about stamps because the post office is crazy. And I don't, in the 60-second commercials I do for stamps on the radio, I don't think I give you what you really need to know. So this is the Stamps.com deal. If you go to Stamps.com and use the promo code TechGuy, you'll get this box in the mail for free. And it includes $55 in postage. All right. So inside you've got a USB postal scale. This is really great to have. The sign-up stuff, Mac or PC now, by the way, works on all the different platforms. They even send you some nice stuff like you can print actual stamps, like you could do holiday stamps, stuff like that. Now, here, let me tell you some of the benefits of Stamps.com. First of all, you never have to go to the post office again. All your mailing's done from your desk. And I include, I don't know if you knew this, but if you send a package, and this time of year people are doing this, that weighs more than 13 ounces, you can't drop it in the mailbox. They won't mail it. This is, 911 stuff. They say, oh, you have to bring it to the post office, unless you use Stamps.com. Because the Stamps.com system barcodes you onto that postage. So no terrorist is going to use Stamps.com. So the post office doesn't worry about it. I mean, it's really a great system. So they will come and get it. Your mail carrier pick it up. You can call them for pickup. So packages, all you do is you get out your scale, your USB scale, put the package on it, prints the postage, put it on there, get a stack this tall, call the post office, say, come get it. You never leave your desk. You always have exactly the right postage. It's really a great solution. If you're an eBay seller, every eBay seller I know uses Stamps.com. It's so much easier. If you send internationally, they actually fill out the form for you in the software. So all the forms are printed out, everything. You do not go to the post office again. The post office will give you discounts that they do not offer at the post office. I think like 21% on priority mail, stuff like that, because they don't want you in the post office. They love Stamps.com because it keeps the lines shorter in the post office, means they can have shorter hours, and they can close post offices, which, frankly, they're doing in Petaluma. So this is a great deal, and it's absolutely free. There's no cost to you. Go to Stamps.com, click the Try It Free button, that microphone, I think, at the top, and use the promo code TechGuy. This is the time of year to do this, right now. Right now. Somebody's saying, Jabba's saying, too bad it doesn't work outside the U.S. It is too bad. Every country should have something like this. You should check in your nation to see. But if you're an American, it works. And it works for international postage and everything. It works all over the world. Stamps.com. Try it free button. Use the promo code TechGuy. This is, I don't know why everybody doesn't use it, to be honest with you. If you've got a computer and a printer, you should be using Stamps.com. It's pretty simple. Pretty straightforward. Stamps.com. Is there a UK one? Maybe there is. I think they're, I love these guys. I've been actually using them for almost a decade. I started, I'm a geek. So as soon as they call it indicia. As soon as the Postal Service authorized this, I immediately signed up for Stamps.com, and I've been using it ever since. It's just fantastic. There is a monthly fee, but you're basically, because you're getting the $55 free postage, is covered for you for like, I don't know how many months. And the discounts will make it, in effect, cheaper. Let's get our next call. Hans in Westlake Village, California. Hi, Hans. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello, Leo. I'd like to go back to cameras. By the way, welcome back.
Thank you. And thanks again to Scott Wilkinson. What a great job he did. I really appreciate that.
He did a terrific job, but there really is nobody like you.
Good. It's good you say that. Keep saying that.
Yeah. Well, I want you to answer my question.
I don't want Scott to be too good. Just good enough.
Hey, I'd like your recommendation for a camera for my 7-month-old granddaughter.
Now, she's not taking the pictures, you are.
No. What I'd like to do, I'd like a recommendation for a nanny cam.
Oh, a nanny cam.
Yeah, so that my son could check up on her during the day on his a smartphone, right. And if he decides to give us the password, we might be able to look at her also.
Isn't that a nice idea? That's a great idea. You're not spying on the nanny. You just want to keep track of...
Yeah.
Yeah. We use here, and I really like it, and I probably would recommend this because it's a camera with a microphone, doesn't need any special wiring. You just plug it in, and then it uses the Wi-Fi, and I'm sure your son has Wi-Fi in his house.
Right, right.
So it's very easy to wire up. It's called Drop Cam.
D-R-O-P?
Yep. And we use it. We actually have a drop cam in our studio. We've had one since we started building it, so it's been fun for people to watch the drop cam and see what's going on. We turned off the microphone because my employees felt that they were being spied upon. But you can leave the microphone on. And here's another feature that's nice. The drop cam, I think it's $175. Comes from a company called Axis, which has made these Wi-Fi cameras, these remote cameras, for a long time. Quality's good. It's pretty wide angle, you know, so you're going to mount it kind of above the crib. Then you'll pick up most of the room. You'll pick up all the audio. And what's nice about it is it will record the audio and video, and you can go back and look at it later. Now, they have monthly subscriptions that let you record a lot. The free one, I think, only records for a little bit at first, and then for $9 a month, you'll get a week's worth of recording. You may not care about recording, but if people use it for security cameras, they want to go back in time and see if there was an incident, they can do that. You could take a look at our drop cam just to see what the image quality looks like and how the playback works and all that at we made a special URL, a shortened URL for it, bit.ly, that's the bit.ly URL, /TWiT drop. bit.ly /TWiT, TWiT, that's the name of my company, drop, D-R-O-P, and you'll get a video of the TWiT Brickhouse Studios, which is right here. It's one of the. There are other demos at dropcam.com you could take a look at too, see what they look like, and listen to them and so forth. I think it's a nice system. Well, actually, we haven't. Oh, Jammer B, the guy who set this up, says, oh, you don't have to go to Bitly, just do twit.tv/dropcam. That's easier.
Oh,
twit.tv. That's our podcast network /dropcam, and that's our studio cam. I'll go dance in front of it. The only thing that's not good about it is it has no audio, as I said. My staff didn't like it.
Because you shut it off. But that's okay.
You could shut it off, but you do want to hear about it. You do want to hear the sound. I think you want to hear the go go gaga.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, that's great, Hans.
Hey, thank you very, very much, Leo.
My pleasure. There are lots of companies that do this, lots of hardware that does this, some less expensive, but I've had very good results with this, and I have no hesitation in recommending it or the company Axis. They do good stuff. Dropcam, DROPCAM.com. Matt in Huntington Beach, California. You're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, good morning. Great show, Leo. Thanks.
Thank you.
Real fast. I'm presently doing a lot of video production. Currently have iMac, an older iMac, putting it into Snow Leopard on Final Cut Pro, and want to make the jump to a new 27-inch iMac, which means I get Lion. I've heard negative experiences with video capturing, especially with iWeb, which I don't use, or iMovie, excuse me, and thus we have issues from Apple S to autosave. So it's all autosave. With Lion, I hear there's capture issues, crashing issues. Have you heard anything like this? And before I make a more of a major investment,
I have not. I'm using Lion on all my systems now.
Okay.
We did not upgrade the editors. I have 5 high-end Mac Pros running Final Cut Studio, so we didn't bother upgrading them. At some point, we will upgrade to Final Cut Pro 10, which is very much reduced price. I think iMovie on Lion is actually a great solution. You're doing professional video, though, right?
Right. I'm Final Cut Pro 6. I want to go to 7, but I'm waiting until I get to Lion. But
$200.
A lot of issues.
It's cheap, and I mean, we were paying $1,200, $1,300 for Final Cut Studio. So, so I like the App Store. It's really easy. You can install copies across the house, unlimited numbers of copies. So it really is going to save you a lot of money. The reason we don't use it is a very simple technical reason. We use a special kind of hard drive that we record to called a storage area network, or SAN drive, and until recently it didn't support it. But that's a specialized thing. I don't know of any reason not to go to Lion. I haven't heard of these problems. It's people who edit video and and really bang on the systems often will report problems that normal people don't have. But I haven't heard any howls of pain from any of our people. So I think it's probably okay.
Okay, well, thank you, Leo. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Matt. Yeah, and if you're welcome, Matt. Get it? If anybody, I'm poor Matt. He probably has heard that once or twice. If anybody out there has had issues or would like to stop Matt from upgrading the Lion, please let me know. I got to say, I have the 27-inch iMac running Lion, and I love it. I really love it. Rob in Lincoln, England. He's calling via Skype. Hey, Rob, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Yeah, I wonder if you can help me. I'm starting an internet record label, and I'm thinking about using Drupal to build the website. And I was wondering what your experience was with it in media, and whether you think it's a good idea.
So let me decode that. People are going, he's asking about Drupal, honey. Come on, run to the radio. Everybody wants. So great, first of all, that you're going to do an internet music site. That's wonderful. Drupal is what we call a content management system, or CMS. Nowadays, websites, they've changed quite a bit since the early days of the web. In the old days, you would design a web page using a program like Dreamweaver or just a text editor. And you'd put in this one web page, you'd have all of the content of the page, plus markup, bold, big letters, small letters, image backgrounds, all that stuff. So content and design were intermixed into a single file. That made it very time-consuming to create and difficult to maintain. It kind of discouraged people from updating their pages. It didn't last very long. Most websites that you go to now are dynamic websites. I'll use Amazon.com as an example. Amazon is running a database, because they're a retailer, of all the products they have. That database has everything they need to know about that product: availability, price, pictures, all that stuff. It's updated dynamically all the time. Somebody buys one, then you have one fewer in stock. It's always up to date. But that database, you can't just swoosh it online. You have to have a content management system which accesses the database and displays it. Oh, this explanation will continue in a moment. How the web works in just a bit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We have a request for Hanukkah, by the way.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Okay.
We'll be fair. Happy holidays.
No, but what's his name? There's a great...
Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get it. I'll do it later. Hey, Carbonite Consumers, your library here.
Got it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 88. Ask Leo. That's the number. We're talking about how the web works. There's a long way around to answer. Poor Rob called all the way from England to get it. We haven't even gotten to the point where we can answer his question, because I had to explain how the web works, you see. Yeah. So modern websites are dynamic. That is, the page you get is created each time you go to that site. I mean, obviously, if you go to Amazon.com or Apple.com or any site nowadays, that site changes all the time. If you look at YouTube, the site's always changing. The reason is they're running a content management system. It's software that runs on the web server, which is just a computer somewhere. The web server is sitting there. It goes, okay, I'm here. Anybody want anything? And then you, in your browser, you go to that web server, say, yes, I'd like that page. Then the content management system kicks in on the web server and says, all right, let's check the database, pull in the information we need from there. Let's check our design information. There's style sheets that have been created that say this is how you display it. Merge the two and create a page on the fly, a dynamic page on the fly for this particular session, and then you send it out to the browser. So this content management system is all important, and there are a variety of them, quite a few. Drupal, which Rob was asking about, is one. It's open source. It's been around for a while. I think the latest version is Drupal 8, and it's very beautiful. I actually went through this process when we started my podcast network, TWiT, in 2005. Looked at a lot of content management systems. Many of them are very good. I'm not knocking them. WordPress is one, by the way. Joomla is very popular. There are a lot of them. But I decided on Drupal as being the most solid, reliable, well-written one out there. It's free, by the way, and I've been using it ever since. We just had a website redesign, and we stayed with Drupal. The Tech Guy site is going to be a Drupal site as soon as that redesign is done. So I put my money where my mouth is. I like Drupal a lot, but I'll also mention some other people. MTV Europe uses Drupal. The White House uses Drupal. So, Rob, I think if you're designing a site, a commercial site, large commercial installation, with presumably you're going to have lots of traffic, Drupal is a very good choice.
What about scalability?
We had some scalability issues with TWiT at first, and I think that was more an issue of getting our sysadmins working in lockstep with our web design team. And I think we've solved that problem. It can be scaled beautifully. There are solutions like there's one called Varnish that runs on top of Drupal that caches pages. See, one of the problems with dynamic pages, of course, is if 1 million people come to your site at the same time, that content management system can get pretty busy trying to, oh, I got to create a page, another page, another page. It's like I Love Lucy in the Chocolate Factory. You know, you just can't keep up. So what most of these systems, and Drupal does this very well, will do is create a static page, a cached static page that it serves to all of the people, and then updates that, you know, less often. And Varnish is a system. The reason Varnish exists, by the way, is because Drupal has a very large, very talented group of third-party developers who make add-ons for it, and there are a lot of add-ons for Drupal that make it, I think, a very good choice. So, yes, for your company, I would say Drupal is a great choice, Rob.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Leo.
You're welcome.
That's wonderful.
My pleasure. I think, you know, one of the things to keep in mind is not merely how well written the content management system is, but how many people use it, how well supported it is. That's often the case when you're deciding on a technology to use, whether it's a programming language or an operating system or content management system. You want to make sure that there are people out there who will help you, who will support you, who will add value to the base code. And Drupal is very well supported by the third-party community. We're going to take a break. When we come back, though, Conway is on the line from Brooklyn, looking to get a multi-bay hard drive enclosure that supports USB 3.0. Well, now that's a specific question. Next time you sit on Santa's lap, try that. Santa, I'd like a multi-bay hard drive enclosure that supports USB 3.0. Oh, 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 oh. Conway, Brooklyn, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Conway. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Stand by. Now I got you. Hi, Conway.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, thanks.
Great. How you doing?
I'm good. So you're looking for a drive bay.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm trying to help somebody upgrade their laptop. So I'm going to have the hard drives replaced. Now, the hard drives coming out of the unit are basically new themselves. They're two 500 gigabyte, 7200 RPM hard drives.
And they're not mirrored or anything. They're separate individual drives.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So I figured instead of wasting them, why not throw them into some sort of backup solution? You know, so I was trying to see if I could find a hard drive enclosure that could house the two 2.5-inch hard drives, and maybe if it has multiple bays, somewhere down the line, we could add more drives to expand the backup solution.
So are these laptop hard drives?
Yeah.
That's why there's 2.5 inches. So there's two problems. One is the size, but also laptop hard drives have different kinds of connectors. They get power and data on the same connector.
Okay.
So it is a specialized drive bay. There are companies that make drive bays for laptop drives.
Well, as a matter of fact, I had a lot of trouble going online and to look for the type of unit I'm looking for. I did happen to find one, but since I don't know much about backup solutions, I was hoping to get your opinion on it. Maybe I can give you.
What's the name?
Well, it's a company called Add-Onyx.
Yeah, Add-Onyx. That's actually one of the names I was going to mention.
Really?
They've been doing this for a long time. The truth is, these are companies are making kind of commodity products. To be honest, they're not they're not high-end products. They're sold a lot of times to OEMs or they're sold to enthusiasts. But yeah, the Add-Onyx cases are great. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not looking to spend $1,000 on a job or anything. I'm just hoping that get something that could serve my needs. I have a budget of a maximum of around 300.
Oh yeah, this will be less than that.
Okay. In fact, I'm looking at the page right now. I can give you the direct product page if you want it.
No, that's all right. No, that's all right. I've used Add-Onyx equipment. I think they're fine, and I can recommend them. I think it's the reason you don't know the name is because most of the time you don't ever encounter these companies in the wild. You know, system builders and geeks have them, and not generally real people. But I think they're Add-Onyx absolutely was one of the companies I was going to suggest. No hesitation in recommending it, Conway. Larry in Camarillo, California. Hi, Larry. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Oops. Oh. Are you there still?
I am.
Thank goodness.
Still there?
Yes.
Okay, this is Larry. Hey, to piggyback on your previous caller about the repeater bridge, we've got the Verizon FiOS Action Tech or Alcatel router.
Yeah,
and we've had to replace it 2 or 3 times.
Those are not the greatest, are they?
So how can I use a repeater on that? I have a...
Yeah, hold on. We're going to take a break, but let me talk about that when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That was so funny. I actually wanted people to do it. I wanted to hear more. Oh. Well, a good day to you. Leo Laporte here, the tech guy, and it's time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones, camcorders, MP3 players, home theater, and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is the number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. Outside the U.S., you can still call. We had a call from England last hour. Just use Skype. Won't cost you a thing. 8888 Ask Leo. Now, I think we lost the guy I was talking to. Did we lose the guy I was talking to, Kyle? Is that...
No, he's on 2.
He's on 2? Oh, yeah, there he is. Larry from Camarillo. Hi, Larry. So Larry has one of these junky routers that Verizon gives you.
There you go.
It's an Action Tech.
Yep.
I get more calls from people with crappy Verizon routers than anybody else.
Yeah, the lightning speed of FiOS doesn't do much good across that router.
Yeah, it's frustrating because you do need their box to decode the FiOS.
Yep.
But you don't have to use their wireless router.
Oh.
What you can do, you know, that box has Ethernet out.
Right. And it works fine with that.
Yeah, physical wire out. So what you do is you go in the Action Tech and... well, you have 2 ways to do it, but you can get a good wireless router, which I would do. get a Netgear.
I have an Linksys N router we used before.
That's fine. The one with all the antennas pointing in all the different directions. It looks like a Martian.
There you go.
And so you take that, you plug that in. Now you have 2 choices. These routers. They're going to work fine with each other. You just pretend that the Action Tech is like a cable modem or a DSL modem. It's not doing the Wi-Fi, and you plug it in. But you do want to go into the Action Tech settings and disable the Wi-Fi so it doesn't interfere. And if you have a choice, you also want to disable the DHCP and just disable the whole router part of that cable or whatever they call it, FiOS modem. And say, no, I'm going to let the Linksys do the work. If you can't disable DHCP, then you can let the Action Tech do it and just tell the Linksys to go into bridge mode. But one of them needs to be a bridge and one of them, you can't have them both doing it.
Okay.
Does that make sense what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Is there a website that describes this a little bit? You could put it.
Yeah, there probably is. Practicallynetworked.com is an excellent site. It was originally created as a Linksys help site. But now it has a bunch of tutorials on all kinds of unusual configurations. I suspect they'll have something like that.
You said it's practically networked?
Yep. Practicallynetworked.com. We'll put that in the website. Conceptually, here's what's going on. Every router does something called NAT, Network Address Translation. What it's doing, the reason you need a router, and the reason a router is a good thing is because your internet service provider gives you a internet address. It's your address on, it's like a phone number. But if you have more than one computer, each of them has to have a unique internet address. So now it gets complicated. You have 2 choices. You can go back to the internet service provider and say, can you give me a few more? Usually that costs you. Or you can use a router. What a router does is share that single internet address among multiple computers. And it does that with network address translation. That's where the NAT comes in. It takes the input and creates a internal network. Each computer in the internal network has its own private internet address, which then translates out to the main internet address whenever you get online. So if you go online, for instance, on any, let's say you have 5 computers attached to that router. If you go online with any of those computers and you ask a website like, I don't know, IP Chicken, that's one that I use, ipchicken.com. You say, what's my address? They'll all have the same address, which will be the one address that was given to you by the internet service provider. The truth is they can't really all have the same address, but from the outside world, they look like they're all the same computer. Internally, they have their own local address. That's entirely what the router's doing. But you don't want 2 routers both doing that because it gets very confusing. So one router should be in bridge mode, that is doing no translation, and one router should be doing the translation. It's done with something, NAT is the translation. There's software running on the router that assigns network addresses to the internal network. That's called DHCP, or Dynamic Hosts Configuration Protocol. I'm sorry, I'm giving you all these acronyms. But that's just so you know, that's what's going on there is the router is kind of controlling the internal network and presenting it as a single network to the outside world. There is a safety security advantage to this, by the way. The router is what's visible to the outside world, not any of the computers on the other side of the router. They're protected. The router is actually, by its very nature, a firewall. Any attack against you on the internet hits the router goes, I don't know what to do with that, and ignores it. Unlike your computer, which might in fact act on it. So a router is a good thing to have, even if you're one computer on the internet. Always recommend, they're cheap, $40. Always recommend having a router in between you and the outside world. It's a great way to protect yourself. Lanny's in Simi Valley, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Lanny.
Hey, Leo, you the man.
Thank you, sir. What can I do for you?
It's good to talk to you again. I have a new computer. Well, I just finished building a computer. And I have a new installation of Windows 7 64-bit. It's my 3rd Windows 7 64-bit computer. The issues that I'm seeing, I have not seen before. Let me start with the one that's most bizarre. You boot the computer. I have a Blu-ray drive in the computer. I look at it in the Windows Explorer, and it says BDRE drive, and then the drive letter in quotation marks. I'm sorry, in parentheses. And then after that, it has a disk name, CD, audio CD, but the drive is empty. And if you put a disk in the drive, it doesn't do anything. If it's a CD, it doesn't play in Windows Media Player. If it's a ROM or anything else, it doesn't see it. I have to push the button to eject it, and then push it back in.
That's broken. Listen, has that happened on all your Windows 7 systems?
No, I'm saying
it's just on this new one.
And this drive was in my previous computer.
Yeah.
It didn't put there.
So the BDRE is a manufacturer, right?
No, it's a Plex store.
Okay.
It's Blu-ray disc -RE, which means read write or something.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
And then it makes up a disc name, audio CD, and if I actually click on it, it shows me some non-existent CDA file.
Right. So to understand what's happening here, you have to kind of understand how Windows works. Windows has recognized the hardware and assigned it that name.
Yeah, but I can't change it like I can with any other drive.
Yeah, because it's probably in firmware. But that's not a drive. So in other words, all that's saying is, yeah, you have a physical Blu-ray drive attached. And I'm going to assign it this name just in the same way as when you plug in a USB keyboard, it assigns it a name, or a USB thumb drive, it assigns it a name. Then the media can be assigned a new name, but there's no media in the drive yet. So you're not. This is giving you the name of the physical hardware, not the media.
Yeah.
So if you had a drive, if let's say you had the right software running, this is, by the way, a driver issue is what you're experiencing. If you had the right software running and you put a disk in the drive, you could then name it. But you can't name the firmware is saying what the name of the physical hardware is.
I loaded the software and the driver that came on the CD with the.
Yeah, and I think there's something wrong with it because there's obviously no physical problem with the drive because if you eject and then put the media back in, everything's fine. So what it means is the software the driver software that interfaces Windows to the physical hardware is broken or mistaken or confused or something, like that ever happens. Like it always happens. So I think you probably should look for either first start with the manufacturer of the physical hardware and see if they've got an update. There's probably, I would guess, a firmware update on that thing. You might want to reinstall the software. Now, usually the software that comes with a drive is old. So what I would try to do is get newer versions of the software and reinstall that. You may also fix things by buying a commercial Blu-ray playing software. Might also fix it because it will install its own drivers. Get the latest drivers or get new drivers. Everything should be okay. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Good. This is America. We have the right to say what we want to say. We have the right to do what we want to do. And what I do in my house, you might not do in your house. And the simple fact of it all is that we are bonded by the First Amendment. We have the freedom of expression. We have the freedom of choice because this is the land of the free.
Yeah.
Of the brave.
Yeah. Let's not be banned in the USA. You let your member of Congress know you do not support these so-called anti-piracy bills, when in fact tilt the scale way too far in the direction of the music industry, the television industry, and the movie industry, and give the federal government the right to censor websites just because somebody doesn't like them. Chris, the UPZ man. Is that how I pronounce it, Chris? The Ups man?
Yes, the Ups man from the chat room.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, how are you, Dave? Leo?
I'm well. I am well. Thanks for calling. What can I do for you?
Hey, I've heard the term IPv6 tossed around lately, and I understand that we're running out of usable IP addresses on the current standard, and that IPv6 solves this issue.
Right.
What other issues does IPv6 solve, and when will
That's all.
this protocol?
Yeah, that's a great question, and you do hear this for a while, here and there. Vint Cerf, the father of the Internet, man I was just quoting earlier because he's also dead set against these Internet censorship bills in Congress right now. He wrote TCP/IP, the Internet Protocol. Every time you use the Internet, the data that you're using when you surf the web or you get your email or anything you do, with a very few exceptions, comes over the Internet Protocol, or TCP/IP. The problem is it was designed for a world with far fewer Internet-connected devices. It was designed with, so every device on the Internet has a assigned address, just like a phone number. In fact, the best analogy for this is the area codes in the U.S. Remember that, for a long time, if you wanted to call New York City, you'd call 212 area code, but then there were just too many phones. And so they had to add additional area codes. So that's, in effect, what this new version of Internet Protocol does. It adds a massive number of additional addresses by, instead of having it be 4 8-bit numbers, having it be 6 8-bit numbers. I think it's 6, or is it 8? It's a much larger number of 8-bit numbers that we can use. In effect, giving us enough Internet addresses to assign one to every molecule in the galaxy. I think that's going to be enough. We could be wrong. The problem is that, every cell phone now has an IP address. Lots of things have IP addresses. We've skated for a while because of this thing I was talking about earlier, this because most people had routers, even though they had many computers, they still only used one address. That let us get by for longer than we thought. Vint's been saying we were going to run out of addresses for years. It only finally just happened. By the way, it has happened. Wow. But the problem is, it requires, for IPv6 to work, requires a significant upgrade to Internet infrastructure, and that may not happen. So there are other solutions. For instance, your Internet service provider can do NAT at the ISP level. In fact, that's what's probably going to end up happening, so that your existing gear, which is all based on IPv4, will continue to work. It won't know, but on the global scale, we'll be using IPv6, and locally we'll be using IPv4. So, in other words, this is not something you're probably going to have to think about. You're not going to get a notice in the mail from Comcast saying you need to upgrade your router. It's just going to work. So the sky is falling, but it's only for internet engineers. Not for you and me. We're going to survive. It's true that many routers, in fact, all of the Apple routers, for instance, support IPv6 right now. Many new routers do support it. Probably, this is the kind of thing that'll take a decade, and it'll all kind of happen. But it's going to happen much more easily than, let's say, the transition to digital television, which was a nightmare because people did have to go out and buy new gear. This will not be like that. Your internet service provider will handle the deal. As you upgrade to newer hardware, it will automatically do it. Now, you asked another question, which is interesting, Chris. Do we get any other benefits? And to my knowledge, it's interesting because there are other things you would like to fix on the internet. There are some internet security holes that we could fix with an upgraded IP stack. But to my knowledge, they're not actually addressing that. IPv6 really mostly just gives us more addresses. I believe that's the case. I tell you, this is a very technical field, and I'm not an expert in it. But listening to the experts I know, people like Steve Gibson, I believe that mostly what we're getting is more addresses. In fact, so many so that you can go to somebody and get like for yourself personally like 100,000 IP addresses just for you, because there's so many that take all you want. We'll make more. We're not running out anymore. Emil from Victorville, California. Am I saying that right, Emil?
Yes, it's Emil.
Emil, nice to have you. Thanks for calling.
And my question is, I got a Galaxy S. I'm trying to be able to listen to music through my Bluetooth. Now, I've had BlackBerry and stuff like that, and I can listen to like iHeart or iTunes.
Right.
Excuse me?
Yes, I'm agreeing.
Yeah, but I can't do it with the Galaxy S.
So, in order for you to listen to Bluetooth stereo, so what you're getting, in other words, you get in the car. Let's say, I think it probably is your car. You get in the car. You've attached the phone to your car's Bluetooth system. You have an in-car Bluetooth system, and of course, it works fine as answering the phone, I presume. But now I want to play music through. Have the phone in my pocket, and have whatever music's playing on the phone go through the stereo system of my car wirelessly. That's exactly what we call Bluetooth stereo. It's a different profile. So Bluetooth has various profiles for how it's used. There's the Bluetooth headset profile. That's what you use when you make a call on your Bluetooth phone. And then there's the Bluetooth stereo profile. It's called A2DP. And it may be that your phone doesn't support it, or your phone is not compatible with the A2DP implementation in your car. My suspicion is that the Galaxy S needs an update, because the update will support A2DP, and that's what you need. As you said, your BlackBerry supports it. It works fine. But I suspect that the Galaxy S is just... Yeah. So you need to have A2DP working on your phone. Google has announced that they are going to update the Nexus S to Ice Cream Sandwich. Do you check periodically with your carrier to see if there's an update?
Yeah, I have, but they said I called them up, they checked it out, and they can't figure out, because the other ones say Bluetooth enabled. So they tried this one, they can't figure it out either. They said there's
it could be there's something wrong. It could be the hardware. No, the hardware does support it. Check to see if you've got the gingerbread update. That's what you want. That's what you need. 2.3 or later. You can go into your settings of your phone. At the very bottom, it says About Phone, and you can see what version. You can even check for an update. I think this was a problem on the software, the Androids. This part of the problem with Android is there's so many different versions, and every phone seems to have a different version, and you need the latest gingerbread on that Galaxy S to do it. I'm not sure which version they're offering on the Galaxy S. Kyle is saying that they just recently updated to the latest gingerbread a couple of weeks ago, and that will have, for the Galaxy S, and that will have A2DP, which is what you need to hear the stereo in your car. I hope that makes sense. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We'll take a break, come back with more right after this. Brandon, Los Angeles, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Brandon.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for calling.
Good. I called you last year when my wife had the UPS virus on her laptop.
Oh, yes.
we got that resolved.
I hope you haven't had any viruses since.
Oh, no. I've had Nod 32 on all my computers for a while.
Good man. Yeah. It's funny how people don't have antiviruses till they get a virus. They don't back up till they lose their data. I guess that's the way humans are made. We got to suffer.
Yeah, and I've taken your recommendations. They've helped out.
We learn from suffering.
Here's my current issue.
Yeah.
I've got individuals who work for my company. They're located all over the United States, and they go out and do investigational type work, and they make visual observations in commercial establishments. And I need them to write up a legal form after they've done their observation, namely to write up an affidavit, which I've supplied them in Microsoft Word, and they write it up and then they email it back to me. The problem is that I get different formats. People will move paragraphs around. They'll indent paragraphs.
Yeah,
differently.
because they're doing it in a word processor. It's almost inevitable, right?
Yeah, well, I've given them a format and some instructions how to to follow my example, which is done the way it needs to be done, and they still
no. That's because they're employees.
Yeah.
I know the feeling. Believe me.
Yeah,
I'm not meaning you, Liz. I'm sorry.
So what I was thinking of doing was investing in some software. Perhaps I'm going to be taking a further look at like the Adobe Acrobat.
Yeah, I don't like the Adobe stuff as much as some of the other third-party stuff. It's also very expensive. So
yeah, I have a discounts available through Adobe, but I want to find something that'll work for me and for my manager.
Because basically what you want to do is you want to create a PDF form that is editable.
Yeah, I want to lock down about 80% of the words and the formatting on the form, and just have them fill it in and have some drop boxes where they can select certain words to use,
right,
and then be able to click on a button to submit the form and have it electronically sent back to me for review. Because right now they're emailing the forms to me, and I've got to chase them down and ask them, when are you going to email me your form?
Well, in that case, it might be, if that's what you're doing, the easiest thing might not, in fact, be PDFs, but to make a web page that they fill out. Then it's automatically kind of saved on that web page. They have much less, much more constraints on what they can do, because they're working within that form on the web, and you don't even have to press a button to send it. It's visible to you. You can have a private website with forms on it.
Well, I've got a website for the business, and I've taken a look at like the Adobe feature where I think either Adobe can host the affidavit on their service, or I can host it on mine, and we can actually track to see if they've clicked on the link to fill in the form, because these forms need to be filled in rather quickly.
Right.
So I'm aware of that. So I just want to get your recommendation on what product you would recommend.
Well, it sounds like Adobe has Adobe has a very nice enterprise setup for this precise purpose. So I wouldn't, and since you get a discount, I'd say go with it. I don't generally tell people to use Adobe software for things like PDF reading, creation, and form editing, as individuals, because Adobe's software is often, got security issues. They don't, the updates and so forth. I use Foxit and FOXIT They make the Phantom PDF that they make, I think, is an excellent PDF form creator and filler. It's a lot less expensive than Adobe's Acrobat. However, I think you do want to do this on the web, and given the way you want to do it on the web, I think probably you will want to use the Adobe solution. It's really designed for enterprise. In other words, I'm not going to cheap out on you. This is a business. You want it done right. You have some very specific constraints. This is an enterprise solution designed for that, and I would say you're probably right. It sounds like you're inclined to go with Adobe. I think you're probably right. I could give you things like, Google, for instance, Google Docs will let you create a form that people can fill out in Google Docs for free. For somebody, we use this all the time. If somebody wants to just fill out a form and have that form information stored, Google Docs is great. But if you need something a little more robust, something locked down, et cetera, I think your instinct to go with Adobe is probably right. Going to Oskaloosa, Iowa. Kyle, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Kyle.
You haven't got Kyle.
Oh, I got Rob. Hold on, Rob. I've had buttonitis all day. I don't know why. Now I got Kyle. Hi, Kyle.
Hey, Leo. Been a fan since the very first UGM.
That was Kate Patello and I designed the ultimate gaming machine in 1998.
Yeah, well, I was working for Radio Shack. I got wrote up a few times for having screensavers on every TV in the place.
Why would they write you up for that? That's good stuff. It sells computers. They're crazy. We used to have a Best Buy in the area that I knew a kid who was a young kid. He didn't get cable at home. So he'd go to his local Best Buy at 4 p.m. and turn on the screensavers every day. That was the old TV show I used to do in the 90s and early 2000s, and sit there and watch it. And at first they'd chase him out, and eventually they got so used to it, and they liked the kid so much they set up an armchair for him, and the rest of the staff at the Best Buy would sit around and watch it with him.
Yeah, we had ZDTV running 24/7.
I like it. I like it.
Big thinkers and all that going. But hey, what I'm calling you about today is I have a bunch of MKV files that are mostly formatted in X.264, H.264.
Right.
And I want to cut and paste, edit, without changing any of the formatting or re-encoding.
Ugh. All right. This is you can do it. There are programs that will do it. They aren't going to do a good job because of the way H.264 encodes. You can't do what's called frame-accurate editing.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's terrible. It means it will be close. It's because the H.264 uses keyframes, and what they do is, so they've got every certain number of frames. They've got a keyframe, which is the full frame, and then the rest of the frames until the next keyframe are like what was changed. So your edit will always jump to the keyframe. You can't edit inner keyframe.
Oh, I see. But
and then you've got this additional problem, which you've got Matryoshka wrapper around it. MKV is called Matryoshka,
right?
Which is, by the way, I finally realized why they call it Matryoshka. Those are those Russian nesting dolls, and that's in effect what an MKV file is inside the MKV is H.264. So before you edit it, you probably should unwrap it and just get plain H.264. And even then, frame-accurate editing on H.264 is going to be difficult. The best choice, though, Web2790's got it in our chat room, and I agree, is Avid Demux. I'll give you a link. Yeah, I'll give you a link right after this.
This is what I used to play.
Yeah,
when I was
Sonic.
a kid.
I recognize this, but in fact, I'm starting to twitch a little bit. I want to get my fingers on the controllers. This was such a good game. This was on the Dreamcast. Sonic the Hedgehog. Is that what you played, Kyle?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, the Dreamcast version. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Getting ready for the holidays. I will not be here next week. I know, I just took a week off. I know. But Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, I feel that perhaps I should take some time off. So we'll get some other person to do the show next week. Meanwhile, for years, of course, as a broadcaster, I worked holidays, every holiday there was. And when you first start out, you work every Christmas. But I've been doing this for 35 years. I think it's time somebody else missed Christmas. You know who doesn't miss Christmas? It's Christmas every day with our Gizwiz, the gadget guru, Dick D. Bartolo. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo, how you doing?
Mad Magazine's maddest writer and the host of our weekly daily Gizwiz show. It used to be daily, now it's weekly, so we call it the weekly daily Gizwiz. It's a long story.
Yeah, no, I think you just shortened it to what it is. Yeah. But, I think that new contract, your new radio contract, that you have Groundhog Day off.
Is that going too far? Hey,
I think it is.
I believe that Punxsutawney Phil deserves the reverence that he is
you're
earned.
Right. You're right.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Well, then I would give up Arbor Day. You can't take both.
So, Dick, you look very festive. You've got your ho-ho-ho hat on. I also have my Merry Twitmas hat on. So we're obviously in the mood. Do you celebrate Christmas?
Absolutely. A pineapple upside down cake Christmas Eve. and some gift giving on Christmas Day.
Good.
And a lot of gift getting.
You got your tree yet?
Hint, hint, hint.
Gift what? Up. Did you say what? Get what?
No,
you got your tree up?
Hint. Yeah, no,
what did you say? I'm sorry.
Running out to the UPS truck and they go, not yet, not yet.
No, you are going to get a gift. Last year we sent you a very nice gift, a fez.
I have it's right here. Yeah.
This week
this is for it says keep this handy and don't ever forget it. Love, Leo. It was a wonderful card.
This year you're going to get some Brill cream to get your hair just right before you put the fez on. So what is our gadget of the week? Every week.
Our gadget of the day is there's still time to pick this up if you're looking for a stocking stuffer. And I kind of like this because it's the trickle down technology that you and I know about. About 2 years ago, I talked about the first vibration device that could turn anything into a speaker. And it came in at, I think, $80. And then at CES, we saw one that was about $50. And
that was the Wowie one. I liked that.
Yeah. So I'm walking through Bed Bath & Beyond, and I see the Rocket 2.0.
Yes.
That is selling for $20.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, this is a fun, it's very intelligently designed. It looks like a very large bullet, and out of one side pops... Yes.
No, that's intelligent. Sure, it should look like a bullet. It's a speaker.
Or, if you have a severe headache, it's like a big horse pill.
Yeah.
So then you pop the end cap off, and you pop out the little jack that goes into your music player or your iPod or whatever. And then in the hotel room, you just slap the little vibration disc onto a tissue box, any kind of box. I find a large FedEx box gives you great fidelity. So for $20, if you're in a hotel room and you don't feel like listening to music, or you're watching a movie and you don't want to do it on headsets because there are a couple of you, this little Rocket device is really neat. And as I said, $20 at Bed Bath & Beyond.
Actually, that's a good deal because the list
it's a little bit more at Amazon.
Yeah, the list is $50. So Bed Bath & Beyond has a good price for it. Yeah, wow. Yeah. Amazon's $45.
It is? Okay, well then Bed Bath & Beyond, that was a deal. Holy cow.
Now, you said you attach it to a tissue box. What?
Yeah. You can slap it on any empty cardboard box.
Oh, that's the resonator? That's like the... Like on a guitar, That's the vibration.
That's exactly right. And actually, it was last week's video while you were away, and I just slapped it on. Dennis has a wooden table, and the entire table was playing. So it's pretty nifty, especially for now that I realize $20.
That's a good deal.
A real buy. Yeah.
It's funny that you should mention it because I every year we got to do a holiday gift guide, and I've got this one radio station, I won't say where it is, where the guy's really a cheapskate. And so he always says, so, Leo, what technology can we give people for under $30? And it's like, what are you talking about? There's nothing under 30. You give him a pencil. I don't know, a mouse pad. But I found this, and I thought, this is something that a kid, for instance, would find useful. A good little
absolutely.
Stuff. Then they can have an iPod Touch or a Nano or whatever, plug it in, and then they all can, dance around like hooligans.
Yeah, and also, Leo, tell them about the multitask pen, $10.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a lighted pen with a gooseneck lamp on it.
There you go. See, you're the king of cheapskates. I should have gone to you. Next time, Bill Handel is going to call you. Inexpensive. You'll find that and many more wonderful gadgets at Dick's site, gizwiz.biz, Gizwiz.biz. And when you're there, by the way, there it is, the under $20 stocking stuffer. Then while you're there, you click that button that says, what the heck is it? And you can play the game now through the end of the month. What the heck is that? The 12 correct answers get an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. The 24 cutest, silliest answers also get copies of Mad.
We like dumb. We reward dumb.
I don't like TWiT. That's our new slogan. We like dumb.
Yes.
Thank you, Dickie D. Hang in there. We're going to do the weekly Daily Gizwiz right after the radio show.
I'll be here.
Don't go. Don't move. But you can take off that hat. I'm going to take mine off. These things, they're really not made for California. Let's put it that way. They're hot. I did want to mention, we were talking before the break about a way to edit Matroshka files, MKV files, and the chat room suggested AVI Demux. And if you Google AVI DEMUX, you'll find it quickly. I think it's free, as I remember. It's not very expensive anyway. Pat, Reseda, California. Hi, Pat. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo, I love your show. I've got two problems. I got a virus. I'm one of those guys that didn't buy the protection till it was too late. But I went to a guy, and he took it apart and rebooted it up. When I got it back, my iTunes came back in multiples. Every song was there twice or sometimes 3 times.
Okay, so what that means, in all likelihood, some viruses do this, they attach themselves to music files. So it's very likely, I don't know what this guy did, but he probably tried to disinfect, and in the process, he's deleted all your music.
Well, no, it's still there. It's just in multiples.
So you do have...
Yeah, I've got, like, every song is there 2 times or 3 times. So
and what happens when you play them?
3,000 songs. They play back.
Oh, all right.
Some of them play back. Some of them have a check mark beside them, and they won't play.
Right. So
now, I had this happen before with this computer. It's an HP. I had it for 3 years. I took it in once before, like a year and a half ago. Came back the same way, and I went through and manually...
No. It's very easy. You have to rebuild your iTunes library. So delete the iTunes library. Hold down the Option key or Alt key when you boot. Rebuild the library. All will be well. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Have a great geek week.